got 100 years to live. Good morning, Dr. Jorge.
Hey, Whoopi, Cubby, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you feeling today?
I love talking to him because it's always, you know, you always understand what Dr. Jorge is talking about. He breaks it down really simply. I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
He talks to you.
Yeah, yeah, not over you.
Not over you. Right.
Yeah, see, I love him.
It's Thursday, June 19th. Coming up on an all-new View.
Please welcome my friend, Dr. Jorge Rodriguez. Hey, Jorge.
We do have a handle on people dying from HIV, but I really think that maybe 20 years ago, we did a big disservice to people in this country and tried to just pigeonhole who got HIV. Right? It was gay men, it was people, you know, that did drugs, so everybody else felt pretty safe.
Here's Campbell Brown.
Tonight's first big question, is America ready for swine flu? Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, a board-certified internist who is with us quite often. So, Jorge, we're glad to see you here as usual. Try to put this, if I can start with you, into context for us, because 90,000 is about double the usual amount of flu deaths that we have here in the U.S. every year. Should we be hyperventilating right now or not?
I'm hyperventilating a little bit. I think we definitely need to be concerned. So far in the Southern Hemisphere, this epidemic hasn't been quite up to what has been expected, but it is expected to completely explode maybe in September or October. We have approximately 36,000 deaths a year from regular flu, add 90,000 on top of that. But what concerns me most is that the estimates are that almost 2 million people are going to need to be hospitalized because of this potential epidemic that we're going to have coming this fall.
Michael Jackson couldn't sleep, so he was putting him down at night and bringing him back up. Very strange indeed.
Dr. Rodriguez, does this, if Diprovan was in fact present, as the AP is reporting, does that raise a lot of questions to you?
Oh, it's like Sanjay said, that's completely abnormal. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago how many households in the U.S. had Diprovan in their home, 0. So it's absolutely something that raises a lot of red flags.
The registered nurse who claims 3 months ago that Jackson begged her for Diprovan or wanted her to get it no matter what the cost, says that he was trying to use it for sleep. What effect does it have? Is it the same? I mean, is it a sleep aid?
No, it's absolutely not a sleep aid. It's an anesthetic medication. It's something that puts people into a deep state of unconsciousness, and they don't even go into complete REM sleep. So you may not get the same relaxation that you get from sleep. So it's almost as if you're a zombie after you come out of it. You know, I think it's very ironic that you say the healthcare that your children enjoy, the healthcare that I enjoy, but there are 47 million people and children that don't enjoy any healthcare whatsoever.
All right, gentlemen.
Now, who is going to protect them?
You are a doctor. I mean, what do you tell your patients about this?
Well, what I tell my patients, actually, this study has reinforced everything that I've been saying for a while, which is calories count the most. And I'm someone, Campbell, who has always had a problem with weight. And I think my uncle said it all. When I went to Christmas in Miami, which is where we Cubans go, I mean, he hugged me and said, "You look great, but you're a little gordito." And then he said that he walks every day 40 minutes, 6 days a week. And what this article also showed is that we have lost that continuity of movement. But more compelling, there was approximately 6 grams of alcohol in her stomach, which meant that she must have consumed alcohol at least within half an hour to 1 hour of the accident. It's not unusual for a physician who's doing this to actually have many different aliases of people they know. That way they tend not to trip up when they reorder the medications. And I also wouldn't be surprised, for example, if each alias had a specific medication assigned to it.
And people have a lot of questions. So here with some answers is internist Jorge Rodriguez. Doctor, appreciate you being with us. Why is it taking the CDC longer to create the vaccine than planned, and where are the doses that are available already?
Well, that's a good question, Anderson. First of all, the CDC isn't making the vaccine. It's being made by 4 different manufacturers. So basically, they're at the mercy of the manufacturer.
Dr. Jorge Rodriguez is a board-certified internist and my guest right now.
I definitely think that this flu vaccine is as safe as any other flu vaccine that's been created.
Supplies of the vaccine are running short. Back now with Lorna Patterson, Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, and your questions. Dr. Rodriguez, what about that?
Well, first of all, in the time that she's been practicing, which is wonderful, she has to have noticed that the fact that there are less vaccinations, we thought we'd eradicated, for example, polio and whooping cough, and it's opinions like that that have caused a resurgence of this.
Thank you for being on the program, Nurse Lorna Patterson. Thank you, and Dr. Jorge Rodriguez as well.
noche en Aquí y Ahora.
A mí me da escalofrío porque cambió todo tanto que en ese año las muertes del SIDA bajaron desde aquí hasta aquí.
Telemundo 52 a las 6 en alta definición.
Casi 30% de todos los casos nuevos de VIH en mujeres son de la mujer hispana. Y la mujer hispana es solamente como 12% de la población en general. So persistent nose bleeding, persistent bleeding in your sputum from coughing, obviously blood in the stool or blood in the urine, those could be signs of something minor, but sometimes those are the first signs of something malignant, of something much more serious. So if it isn't natural and it continues, don't ignore it. Call your doctor. Go see your doctor. We don't mind, real problems.
Right.
Sleep deprivation can also lead to depression. Sleep deprivation can lead to obesity. We now know that there are proteins that may not rise to a normal level if you don't get enough sleep. Hey Jacob, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, you're nervous for today?
Yes.
A little bit? We're going to be passing a tube with a light down into your stomach, and then I'm going to suction a little chip around the size of a bean into the esophagus. And we're ready to insert the Bravo chip. If you notice, the Bravo chip is this little metallic thing right here. That's the dispenser. That's basically what shoots it out, dislodges it, and then it hooks into the patient's esophagus. So we're going to do this blindly, which means that we don't look at it through a scope. Swallow. Perfect. And there is the Bravo chip, right there in front of us. Perfect. That's beautiful placement. All right, so that little microchip is going to be transmitting pH information for the next 48 hours. pH of the esophagus should be only around 6. So when acid abnormally comes up to the esophagus, it's not supposed to be there, so it obviously burns the esophagus. Here we have our little reproduction of a stomach. And the stomach has contents of some people, here we go, have a little bit of reflux. Some people have it all the way up. The problem is that it can come so far up that it can burn your throat.
Do you know what your pancreas is or what it does? Most of us are pretty clueless when it comes to our own body. So today we're finding out just how much we have to learn with a quiz from Dr. Jorge Rodriguez.
Diabetes is caused by a problem with the pancreas. You know him?
I know him. What the heck is that?
This is a cow tongue, or as my people call it, la lengua. Now catch this, Joy.
Yeah.
It's not a real gallbladder, but this is our version of a gallbladder.
I want my stones.
There you go,
Thanks.
with stones in it. So this is like Jell-O in a stuffed gallbladder. So this gallstone, which is just sediment of bile, goes down here. Sometimes it gets stuck. The skin, wrong. You get so vicious with your gallbladder. And Elizabeth, let's show them how long it can be. Look at this. Sometimes,
if it's so long, why do they call it the small intestine?
because the large one is
Very
actually
tricky.
the widest.
That's why.
But look, this is the long. This is the size of a small intestine. Yeah. Women that have had natural childbirth and stones would rather have natural childbirth.
Yeah.
So, see, here's a stone. In the kidney, it's stuck. One day it dislodges, and it's actually the movement that causes pain. The kidney, the ureter, the nerves are wrapped around it like a spiral staircase. So when it stretches, that's what causes the pain.
Dr. Jorge, you're the
Yeah,
best.
you girls aren't bad.
Thank
Very
you
good.
so much. We're so much more body aware. We will be right back. Don't go away.
So what can we do? Do we need to give more information? Do we need to get out to the Latinas and the black women that this is something they have to really pay attention to?
Well, yes, and yes.
And we have to tell them that HIV is now the #1 killer of African American women in this country.
Absolutely.
#1. Thanks, Dr.
Oh,
Jorge.
I love you, honey.